With every new Pokemon game, it seems to get easier to find shiny Pokemon. With the introduction of the shiny charm in Black 2 and White 2, the doubling of shiny odds starting in Generation 6, and all the methods you can use to boost your chances of finding a shiny Pokemon across the different games, shiny hunting has become far more accessible than it was in the earlier generations. While I think this is a good thing, as many more people get to enjoy this once niche aspect of the games, no longer having to sink many tens of hours into a single hunt. It naturally leads to players looking for something even more rare, something on a level even higher than the normal shiny Pokemon. Over the past few generations, this has taken several different forms, whether it be as simple as shiny legendaries, or something more specific to individual games, like in Generation 8 and 9, where some players hunt for shiny Pokemon with rare marks, which function similarly to ribbons from the older games, giving your Pokemon a title when it's sent out into battle. But unlike ribbons, most marks have a small chance of appearing on a Pokemon when you catch it, adding another degree of rarity and luck. Probably the most notable of these kinds of special shiny Pokemon are the shiny alpha Pokemon you can hunt in the Legends games. Because what else could be cooler than something rare and shiny, but something big, rare and shiny? The recent Mega Dimension DLC added a new feature where you feed Hooper donuts to enter pockets of hyperspace, in many of which you can find wild Pokemon. The donuts function similarly to the sandwiches in Scarlet and Violet, in that they give you different boosts such as attack buffs in battle or increasing your odds of catching Pokemon. However, the effects that most people would consider the best are the ones that increase your chances of finding shiny Pokemon and alpha Pokemon. With this in mind, let's try and catch a shiny alpha Pokemon for all 18 types. The first important thing to mention about the DLC is that it's made getting the shiny charm in this game much easier. Before, you would be required to complete 1,000 battles to get enough research points for the shiny charm, but the DLC added more research missions, making it so that you're basically guaranteed to get the shiny charm just from completing the game and progressing through the DLC. The shiny charm adds 3 shiny rolls, which functionally just means that with the shiny charm, the odds of a Pokemon being shiny go from 1 in 4,096 to about 1 in 1,024. Then, with an additional boost from a donut with a sparkling power of level 3, we get another 3 rolls, which essentially gives us odds of about 1 in 586. But both sparkling power and alpha power require a high sweet flavour to get, so first we're going to need to farm some berries. Specifically, we want to get Hyper Haben berries and Hyper Tanga berries. For this, we need to make donuts with a high level of sour flavour, since this can give you boosts relating to items you collect in hyperspace. The big haul power lets us get more items from each of the floating Pokeballs, and item power berries makes more of the items we get berries. Because we're looking for Hyper Tanga and Hyper Haben berries, we need to use the berry farming donuts in hyperspace zones that have at least 4 stars, as the stronger berries don't appear in lower star zones. After a few brief excursions to build up our berry reserves, we have what should be enough berries for all of the donuts we need for the rest of the challenge. We've already covered the shiny odds with sparkling power level 3, but we still need to cover the chance of getting alphas with alpha power on our donuts. Alpha power level 1, 2 and 3 make the chance of a Pokemon being an alpha into 11%, 21% and 51% respectively. Considering the fact that the base odds of alphas in hyperspace zones is just 1%, alpha power will be essential for this challenge. But if we want both alpha power and sparkling power on our donut, we need to get the sweet score quite high. To be specific, you can get one of these powers to be level 3, starting from around 420 points in sweetness. The odds of high level powers increases as the flavour score increases beyond this, and it might just be extremely rare, but as far as I know, you can't get level 3 sparkling power and level 3 alpha power from a donut with just 420 points in sweetness. I'll be making donuts with around 420 points in sweetness anyway, because I want the challenge of not using level 3 sparkling and alpha power, and definitely not because I didn't want to spend more time farming enough berries to make stronger donuts. Okay, it probably would have been faster to just farm some more berries, as it would reduce the time spent resetting sweet donuts for strong powers, and reduce the time spent actually hunting the Pokemon. But if I cared that much about spending my time as efficiently as possible, I wouldn't be doing any of this in the first place. While the flavour of your donut affects which buffs it can give you, since it's picking from a range of different possible powers, we often get donuts that we just don't want. The game saves when you make a donut, but luckily we can make use of the game's backup save feature to reset to before the donut was made, so we can try again. You can make a backup save by just opening the map and fast travelling anywhere. Then, when you're on the title screen, by holding up on the D-pad as well as both the B button and X button, you can load the backup save you previously made. This will put you at the last Pokemon Center you healed at. We can use this both to reset when making donuts, as well as to reset to get our donuts back when hunting in hyperspace, as backup saves can't be made when you enter or are in hyperspace. This means that if we don't find the Pokemon we want before the timer runs out, we can just reset and try again. Back to the donuts. After a few hours, we get 6 to start off with all of them having level 3 sparkling power for a specific type, and alpha power level 2. We'll be aiming to get 3 different species of shiny alpha Pokemon from each hyperspace zone, so if everything works out perfectly, we would theoretically only need these 6 donuts. The first zone we go to is one with poison type Pokemon, which matches one of our donuts. Sparkling power has another effect other than just boosting your odds, with specifically level 3 guaranteeing you a shiny Pokemon when you enter a hyperspace zone that has a Pokemon that matches the type of the sparkling power. This means that to make it more likely to get 3 different species of shiny alphas, we can use the backup saves to reset the zone until we start with the guaranteed shiny being an alpha. Since we have alpha power level 2, which gives a 21% chance for a Pokemon to be an alpha, on average this should only take just under 5 attempts each time. With this, we immediately start off with a shiny alpha Spinarak. In this game, Pokemon spawn in when they're within 50 meters of the player, so since there are multiple bunches of Pokemon within that radius from the entrance point, we can reset the spawns by repeatedly flying to the fast travel point on the map. And after about an hour of hunting, we find a shiny alpha Bellsprout and Weepinbell. We go to catch the guaranteed shiny Spinarak from earlier, and there's also a shiny alpha Ariados. Just around the corner we even get a shiny alpha Meditite. I'll be counting Pokemon from the same evolution lines as duplicates, so with these shiny alphas caught, we have 3 of the 18 we need. We'll count Weepinbell for grass, Ariados for bug, and Meditite for fighting. Onto our second zone, we go to a small hyperspace zone with normal type Pokemon. The last zone was a large hyperspace zone, meaning that there were more areas for Pokemon to spawn. But since we'll mostly just be resetting the Pokemon near the entrance to the zone, the size of the zone doesn't matter too much. However, in this zone, there are only 2 spawners within the range of the entrance, so although there are 3 spawners in total, we'll need to do a bit more to get all 3 of the species here. As with the last zone, we reset until the guaranteed shiny is an alpha, which in this case is a Pidgey. Resetting by fly spamming like last time also gets us a shiny alpha Bunnelby, but for the third Pokemon here, Patrat, we need to go closer to it to spawn it in before each fly reset. This means we get to do far fewer resets before the timer runs out, so we have to restart the whole hunt a few times before we're able to get all 3 of them to be shiny alphas, but eventually we get all 3 at once, adding one of the 3 Pidgey as our flying type, Patrat as our normal type, and we evolve Bunnelby into Diggersby for our ground type. With 6 types already covered, it starts to get harder to find zones with 3 different Pokemon that can all fill in a new type on our list. Therefore, since the zones only change when it goes between day and night, we have to start using the benches to reset the hyperspace zones that are available. The next zone we go to is a medium-sized water type zone. We reset until we start with a shiny alpha Staryu, and unlike the last zone, there are 2 other spawners within range of the entrance this time, so we can go back to using fly spamming. After only about 20 minutes of resetting, we find 3 shiny Alpha Binacle, and a shiny Alpha Quillfish. We count Staryu as our water type, Binacle for rock, and Quillfish as our poison type, as even though we used a poison type Sparkling Power donut earlier, we didn't count either of the poison Pokemon we caught as our poison type. Heading on to the 4th zone, we enter a Steel type portal. The Hyperspace Zone is the same as the last one, with the only differences being the Pokemon that spawn and the location of the entrance portal. This is another quick hunt, as after just over half an hour, we're able to get 2 shiny Alpha Klefki, one of which was our guaranteed shiny from the Sparkling Power level 3, as well as a shiny Aron, and 2 shiny Beldum. Klefki checks off the Fairy type, Aron the Steel type, and we count Beldum for Psychic type. With only 6 types remaining, it's getting very difficult to find a suitable portal. The types we have left are Ice, Ghost, Electric, Dragon, Fire and Dark. The actual pools of Pokemon available in the Hyperspace Zones aren't too wide, and the Hyperspace Zones also don't just pick random Pokemon, but choose from pre-selected sets. But we can make this a bit easier by finding portals that feature multiple types, such as the first one we entered, which was a combined Poison and Psychic type portal. Not having common types between the Pokemon makes it much harder to get their shiny Alphas, as the Sparkling Power won't affect Pokemon if they don't have the same type as the Sparkling Power. You can get Sparkling Power all types, but it has the same chance of appearing as any individual type, being 1 in 19 given that you do have Sparkling Power to begin with. However, we can postpone this hurdle as we find a new portal that both would knock off 3 more types from our list, and has a type common among the 3 Pokemon that matches one of our 2 remaining donuts. We enter the sewers in a small Fire type Hyperspace Zone. We reset the zone until we start off with a shiny Alpha Litwick, but I lost the footage of catching it, so here's its summary page. For whatever reason, this hunt took far longer than any of the others so far. The longest of the other hunts was probably the normal type zone, where I had to restart the whole hunt a few times due to the timer running out. This happened again here, but unlike last time where the timer was being run down more quickly as I had to move to spawn in the Patrat, this time I just got relatively unlucky. Even with all the spawners in the zone being in range of the entrance, it still took about 5 hours of fly spamming to get all 3 shiny Alphas. This is much slower than the other hunts so far, but really, it's still a very short amount of time to get multiple different shinies, let alone shiny Alpha Pokemon. We added Litwick as our Ghost type, Fletchinder as our Fire type, and for Dark we get Houndour. With 3 types remaining, it should be possible to get all of the remaining Pokemon we need from one portal, if it's a portal that combines multiple types. The problem is that there's very little overlap between Ice, Electric and Dragon, and that we don't have a donut with Sparkling Power that matches any of those types. The donut we have left is a Flying type one, which at best can cover 2 of the remaining types. There is one 3-star Flying typed Hyperspace Zone that spawns both Emolga and Noibat, but the chances of this specific zone appearing, and being combined with an Ice type, is very low. Because of this, we'll have to make a 7th donut, but before that, it's time to reset for the Flying type zone that we want. 3 hours of resetting later, and we finally get the zone we need to appear. We reset the zone until the guaranteed shiny Emolga is an Alpha, and we count it as our Electric type. But unfortunately, the Noibat spawners are too far from the entrance point for fly spamming to work. However, there are some Noibat located in a specific area where we can travel back and forth on a Holovator to refresh the spawns. Also, since using Holovators doesn't make the game autosave, unlike fast travelling, we can reset the game to try again from a point after we got the shiny Alpha Emolga. With this, we can catch a shiny Alpha Noibat as our Dragon type, leaving only the Ice type remaining. Resetting for a donut with the right Sparkling Power type doesn't sound fun, and since we only need one more Pokemon, I thought it would be a good idea to hunt with just Alpha Power and no Sparkling Power, meaning that we wouldn't get a guaranteed shiny. I dumped 8 high sweetness berries into the donut, so we quickly get a donut with Alpha Power level 3. If you have the shiny charm, Alpha Power level 3 alone would actually make it take fewer encounters to get a shiny Alpha than if you had Alpha Power level 2 and Sparkling Power 3, if you exclude the guaranteed shiny. With this, it should be a quick hunt for our Ice type Pokemon. I picked the first Ice type zone I saw and started fly spamming. After just 15 minutes, I found the final Pokemon we need, a shiny Alpha Galarian Mr. Mime, checking off the Ice type. Within range of the entrance there was also a spawner for Vanillite, so in this short period we also managed to get 2 shiny Alpha Vanillites. While it wasn't the plan for this video, over the course of these hunts, because of the duplicates, I got exactly 1 box full of shiny Alpha Pokemon. There were also another 28 non-Alpha shiny Pokemon, meaning that in less than 20 hours, if you include the time spent making donuts, we got 58 shiny Pokemon, with more than half of them also being Alphas. Included in this were 6 Staryu, one of which was an Alpha, meaning we have a full team of freaky intergalactic starfish.